Well, we want to take some time today. We're so thankful you all came out today to talk and enjoy this celebration with us. It's a really joyous day that we get to open our new fire station and library right behind us. Really looking forward to that, exciting. I'm going to introduce our mayor today for you. That's Diane Dixon, and she's got some stuff she'd like to talk to you about, and thank you for your attention here.
Thank you, Dave. I do have some things I want to talk about, so relax, because we've got a lot of things to talk about. First of all, isn't this a beautiful day in Newport Beach to open up this fantastic facility, our fire station and library? Let's just give a lot of thanks today. You know, this morning, coming here and listening to news on the radio, and the news all over the radio is the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. That was an historic event, obviously. I was going to summer school just before I started USC, so I remember it vividly, watching on a little tiny black and white TV. But what we're going to see today and what we are celebrating today is our community's moon landing, frankly. I thought the metaphor is apt because it took a community coming together to be unified to make this beautiful structure a reality. So today is really about our community and our residents, all of you. When I arrived here this morning, I thought I'd get here early just because I thought it'd be quiet. I wanted to walk through and kind of absorb the specialness of the place. And I thought no one would be here other than staff. Half the community's here already, and this was 9:45. Our community loves to celebrate achievement and accomplishment, and this is a symbol. This beautiful new building is a symbol of our accomplishment as a community coming together to do great things. And this new fire station and library is here for one reason, because it's what makes our community special. The community came together because, very simply, they wanted air conditioning in the library. That's all it took. So I think Janet, library board chair, do you like your air conditioning? But our community said this 70-year-old structure, a fire station, and the beautiful little library that served the community for generations needed to be replaced. The community worked together, advocated for it, and convinced the city council to move this project forward and then allocate the funding to make this a reality. And I'll let my colleague Joy Brenner speak more about the community's passionate involvement in a moment, but she really does symbolize, Joy Brenner symbolizes the mobilization of the community, of the residents that said, demanded that we replace this facility in its current location and make it right for the community. And she'll talk about that, but she is clearly one of the heroes today. What's important also, the celebration today is that our departing fire chief, where's Mr. Chief Duncan, right there, is here. This is, he was saying a moment ago that everything he's been doing now these last few days is the last this, the last that. This is your last fire station opening that you have shepherded for many years. And we salute you, departing fire chief. And we have our new fire chief, Chief Jeff. Where is Jeff? Where is he? He's going to be enjoying all. But it's a wonderful, wonderful tribute to our departing fire chief as I don't think you're really going off into the sunset, but you're going off to enjoy a new chapter. So thank you, Chief Duncan, for your leadership in making this fire station come to life. And thank you, Library Board of Trustees, for your dedication and commitment to making this library, this new library, another of our many library treasures in our community. And I just learned a few minutes ago that, and maybe I don't want to steal your thunder, Janet, but that every children's book, all the materials are new in this facility thanks to the library for the good work and the generosity of the Library Foundation and the Friends of the Library. So thank you. And I'm also pleased to tell you that the city has the financial strength and stability to allocate the financial and human resources necessary to design and build such an outstanding quality facility. And I will mention, and while we are honored with our public officials here today, this facility has been funded 100% with general fund dollars. With your taxpayer dollars funded this. There were no special grants, maybe some equipment grant perhaps, but the structure, the design, the building of this building was done by and for the people of Newport Beach. A couple of fun facts about this building. We discovered that I want to share with you. So 70 years ago, this day is really an important day in our country's history and in our city's history. 70 years ago, the grand opening event for the original fire station, Corona Del Mar Fire Station, was held in July 1949. 60 years ago, in July 1959, the former Corona Del Mar Library branch celebrated, or the now expanded Corona Del Mar Library branch celebrated its grand opening. And here we are today in July 2019 holding this grand opening for this joint fire station and library facility. So maybe in another 50 years we'll come back and do this again. These two separate buildings have served our community well and occupy, actually, I don't know how many communities can really say that their fire station and of course library occupy a special place in the hearts and minds of our residents. And let me just take a few moments to highlight some of the great work that our Public Works team has created. And I should also say not only Dave Webb, but Mark Vukoyevich. Where's Mark? Mark back there. He was in Public Works, the Assistant Director of Public Works. Mark was really what got this. You said you formed the basic stone that you rolled over to your successor, but we thank you for all that you've done and continue to do for the city. This combined joint use facility is just over 10,000 square feet. The library space is roughly the same size, but there are lots of new amenities, including air conditioning, and that was the number one requirement. More parking and landscaping, an area for stroller parking, a Friends of the Library reading porch, and as you'll see, the famous Rex Brandt-inspired murals are adorning the walls inside, which is a nod, of course, to the Corona Del Mar's history. The fire station's design features modern working conditions for today's fire personnel, which includes, and this is really important, unisex restrooms, so we're in compliance with all the necessary laws, individual dorm rooms, and the apparatus bay that can accommodate new and larger equipment. This day has been a long time coming. The City Council approved the project's conceptual design in April of 2015, so over 4 years ago. Construction began in April 2018. It takes that much time to really do the planning, the engineering, the scoping out, and get it ready for groundbreaking. And in fact, I think that was when members of the City Council were here and we all signed our name on the steel beam. So for posterity, our signatures are there. And this project was scheduled for completion this summer, right now, and it is on budget and on schedule. And how many cities can really say that today? So that's a tribute to our construction management team inside the city and the contractor. I know they're here today, so thank you to managing this project so efficiently. Today is a soft opening. You'll see as you walk through, there's still the lounge areas, some of the offices are being completed, but we wanted to really do this today as a tribute to Chief Duncan. He needed to be here to see the result of his fine leadership. The most important achievement in this project is that it came in on budget and on schedule, and that's thanks to Dave Webb and Mark. I know that this new facility will continue the tradition of being a special place in our community for generations to come, and it is an honor to celebrate. Now I'd like to recognize the community member and now City Council member whose determination, passion, and commitment to see this project appear as a line item on the city budget as a community representative. I don't even know if you were on the Residents Association board. You were, but you were fighting this fight. And she never stopped. And here we are. You did it. So Councilmember Joy Brenner.
Thank you all so much. This is indeed just a momentous occasion, and I know you're all standing in the sun and we're here in the shade, but I really have to acknowledge some people that were so instrumental in doing this. It was about 4 years ago that we got notice through Corona Del Mar Living blog that they were going to tear down our library and fire station, and they were going to make our library smaller. And at that time, I sent out an email to all of my friends who had frequented this library with our children and our grandchildren and said, we need to get involved because this is our library and we want to make sure that it's something that we as a community can be proud of. So we put together a group called the Friends of the Corona Del Mar Library, and I think some of our board members are here today. Karen Carlson, are you here? And Elizabeth Starr, the wonderful Elizabeth Starr, who is Mrs. Library in Newport Beach. Thank you, Elizabeth. Wendy, I don't know if Wendy Salter is here or Lynn Doe, but we had in the back there somewhere, but we had a group of committed citizens who were determined that the library not only was not going to be smaller than it was going to be something that we as a community could get behind. And now, some of you may not know that this library has been threatened numerous times. There have been frequent occasions where other city councils decided that they were going to get rid of our little library, and every single time the community rose up. I was hoping Nancy Gardner was here because Nancy was on the council when it was threatened another time, and she got the community together and saved our library, and that's what it took this time too. So this became a community project, a council project. We worked with the Board of Library Trustees, specifically Robin Grant and Jill Johnson Tucker, who were chairs at the time, and they invited the community in. They didn't resent the fact that we were sticking our noses into their business. They actually invited us in. And when it came time to talk about the design for the library, Lynn Doe had little scraps of paper that represented book stacks and various things, and she moved those around the rectangle that was supposed to be the library. And we talked with Tim Heatherton, and Tim was also very receptive about, we were very insistent that the children's part of the library be in the back and that the children not be close to the door the way they had been in the previous library. So that was something really important to us. Now, this took 4 years because there were a few stops and starts. We actually ended up lobbying the council to save the funding on this library, and Diane Dixon was the one that at the last moment we had talked with her, and she voted with the prevailing side to save our funding. That was a critical juncture, but things didn't proceed without effort from there on. There also was a time where this library was one of several projects that was put on the shelf, and they said maybe in 2 or 3 years we'll get back to it. At that point in time, Will O'Neill stepped up and worked with us as the board of the Friends of the CdM Library and said, no, maybe we can move that back forward and get it going again as it was supposed to be. So he also was a hero in that. There were so many heroes in this. And one of the things that I thought was so important was when they came to the design of the library, we didn't want to have people complaining after it was built that it wasn't what they wanted. So we worked with Kelly Needham. Kelly in the orange shirt back here is the architect for our library, and he did a gorgeous job. So we had 3 renderings of what the library could possibly look like. So we went to the annual meeting of the Corona Del Mar residents, and we actually printed up our own ballots and had the renderings there, and we had everybody vote. We were passing out votes on street corners saying, what would you like your library to look like? And we got a great response to that. And to the council's credit, when it came back to the council, they could have chosen any design they wanted, but they chose the design that the community wanted on this. So I just could not be more proud of this. And I think a quick story is when I first was going to my first meeting on the library, I said to my daughter and her family that I was going to city council to work for the library, to get the funding for the library. And she said, and my son-in-law said, well, you don't think they're going to listen to you, do you? And I turned to my grandchildren. Where's Gavin? Gavin's right here. That's my grandson. He and his sister Lucy, and I said, they will listen to you. They will listen to you if you are respectful, if you have your facts, if you show that you've developed community consensus behind this project, they will listen to you. And they did listen to us, and they listened to us over and over and over again. And I see Debbie Stevens here. Debbie, raise your hand. Debbie is the president of the Corona Del Mar Residents Association. And their annual meeting is where we were able to get that consensus on the design that we really wanted. So I think that's a lesson, and it's a lesson for our grandchildren and our community in general, that if you want something done, you have to get busy and you have to work for it, because if you just sit back, you might end up getting something that you don't want. So I think our entire council is very receptive. They pay attention when the community speaks, and we are, in general, we're really working well together, and I think that we are paying attention to the community. So don't hesitate to contact us, let us know what you think, and we're very proud of this opening that we're having today. So I just wanted to, as our next speaker, I wanted to introduce a lifelong friend of mine. Janet Riedel Ray and I were graduates of the first graduating class at Corona Del Mar High School. And Janet is now the chair of the Board of Library Trustees. So I would like to introduce my friend Janet Ray.
Well, there's no question that it takes passion to get something done. And Joy, thank you so much for all you've done and your committee, because it really made a difference in our community. Welcome to the grand opening of the Corona Del Mar Library Foundation. As Joy said, I'm Janet Ray, and I'm currently the chair of the library board. This branch of the Newport Beach Public Library dates back to the mid-1940s, when the main library was actually located on Balboa Peninsula. And it was considered quite a trek for the residents on this side of the bay to get over there. Also, the population of this sleepy beach town of Corona Del Mar was exploding as World War II was coming to an end. As a result, in 1947, quote, a tiny library station was established at Goldenrod and PCH, and the rent was $45 a month. By 1952, this station was moved to the home of the custodian of Corona Del Mar Elementary School, which is no longer there, but was located on Dahlia Street. It was literally a cottage converted into a working library for the community. And I actually remember going there as a child. I can still remember going from one little room to another, magically transported into the world of books, into the world of learning, and to reading. And even the bathroom was used for storing the books as the attendance increased. So to quote the city librarian at the time, Dorothea Shealy, it wasn't long before the bathtub was full of books and more space was paramount. A permanent library building was truly needed. So in June of 1957, a support group to raise necessary funds was formed, and they were and still are called the Friends of the Library. Fast forward, here we are today enjoying this beautiful facility. The CdM branch will emphasize traditional library services, recreational reading, children's programming, and school curriculum support. I'm happy to say, as Diane mentioned, that there's going to be air conditioning. There's more public space, more circulating laptops, a reading porch, and more parking. This venue encourages patrons to linger in a comfortable and welcoming environment. Actually, the staff calls it the Cheers model of public services, a place where everyone knows your name. Standouts in the Friends today are President Amy Hunt, bookstore manager Wendy Frankel, also the foundation president Kathy Voyer is here. And I would also like to repeat and give a good shout out of thanks to the foundation member, CdM resident Karen Carlson, who actually donated $50,000 for the opening day collection. Both the Friends and the Foundation must be thanked, and I would like all of the members of Friends or Foundation to please raise their hands. The Branch and Youth Services Coordinator is Debbie Walker, and she's here, way in the back. And the Branch Librarian is Annika Helmuth, who's also back there. They both deserve kudos for their hands-on management of this project, as does Peter Tauscher, who is from the City Public Works Department. It's taken a village. It's taken a village, and now we are proud to have this stunning and welcoming new library hub in our village of Corona del Mar. Thank you for joining us today, and I'd like to introduce Fire Chief Chip Dunkel.
Well, good morning and welcome. And actually, Councilman Brenner stole my big adjective that I actually had to look up in the dictionary because I'm a fireman, and it was momentous. Today is a momentous day, and it's an adjective. So there you go. So this is a library. I thought that'd be appropriate. All right. So when I actually wrote this speech down, and it's kind of changed a little bit here. But so I want to know who was actually here in 1949 when they opened the station up. Anybody? It's Newport Beach. There's always somebody out there that was there. No? Are you there? Good. Nobody's fessing up to it then, all right? So a couple quick thank yous. Yep, got it. Mentioned Peter Tauscher. He was tip of the spear for Public Works to get this built. But also Fire Captain Jim Boland from the fire department. Jim, where are you? Probably out there doing some painting or last minute work on it. So give him a big hand. He did a lot for the fire department. Okay, so 1949. Harry Truman was the president of the United States, 33rd president. His first term, he got sworn in. The first two VW Beetles were sold in the U.S., and they were a flop. VW decided there was no future for the VW Beetle in North America. Little miscalculation. But probably the most important thing is, 1949, the movie Fast and Furious came out. Fast and Furious, okay? Our good friends Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, brought to you by our Corona del Mar resident Chuck Jones, right? Chuck, wherever you are, Chuck, thank you. Gotta love Wile E. Coyote. So you've heard people talk about this project and how involved the community was with this project, and that's what really makes Newport Beach so unique. Is there's so many different groups from commissions, boards, concerned citizens that really get involved with doing anything that involves the community, and that civic pride really makes us unique here in this city. I'm really proud of that. And you walk through this facility in the fire station, you look at that civic pride, and that's how that civic pride is really manifested. All the people, and like Councilman Brenner said, if you don't get involved, you might get something you don't want. You guys got involved, and you guys got what you want. That's fantastic. So that's absolutely fantastic. So the final thing is, during the journey of this fire station, there were several different nicknames that this fire station library got. Some people have favorites, some people have ones they don't like. The first one was Fiberry, right? I know there's people who do not like the Fiberry, and somebody else explained why they don't like Fiberry, and that makes complete sense, but that's not appropriate for the speech. The other one was Library Station. That's Robin Grant's version of his Library Station. But the newest one that I heard the other day was Tim Heatherton, our Director of Library Services, mentioned the fact that the fire station and the library together is like a marriage. So I started thinking, Mr. and Mrs. Corona Del Mar Main Branch Library Fire Station. No, that's not going to work. All right, that's just too long. So the bottom line is, no matter what we call it, it doesn't matter. This fire station and library really is the heart and soul of Corona Del Mar, and that's basically a testament to the vision of our elected officials, all the folks over at City Hall who made this thing work. So I couldn't ask for a better going away gift. This is my first station I was assigned to in 1987 when I started working here. A little different than it is now today, but thank you very much.
Class